Here we are. It's Awaken Wednesdays. It's Wednesday, August 18th, 2021. We've been at this for a while, and I'm so glad you're here. And if you're listening to this in a recording, you can always join us live if you're awake at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern, 5 p.m. GMT. And it is, I think, the middle of the night for you in Australia and New Zealand. So you're probably listening to this on a recording. I'm so glad you're here. This is a program we started in the lockdowns, March of 2020. And we're still having the experience of these, they're kind of rolling lockdowns here in California. We are definitely masked up and social distancing, although I like to call it physical distancing because socially, I feel very close to you and everybody I see and work with and meditate with here in California. So today I thought I'd talk a little bit about something I got really excited about years ago. I know Susie, if you listen to her, sometimes she talks about the 7 spiritual laws of success and the spiritual law of the day. And that's what I'm going to talk about with you today because years and years ago, some of you know this, I worked for Deepak Chopra, and it was really an answer to a prayer. And some of you have prayers like this, like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to be doing with my life? What's going to happen next? Where do I need to put my attention? What's going on? And I was kind of in that. I was a real estate agent in Washington, D.C. I was in my mid-20s. I had ridden my bicycle around the world. I'd been in and out of the military, working with soldiers, helping them to handle their post-traumatic stress disorder. I had bought my own house. It was a 14-room house in Adams Morgan. I had already been married and divorced. I'd gone to college and graduated. And by the time I was about 26, I said, well, what else is there? What else is there? Now, I know many people don't have that question at that age, but I like to live full on. And I rode my bike, as some of you know, around the world, and I still didn't find what I was looking for, even though I had the experience of being in beautiful places, in Afghan refugee camps in Pakistan and Swat Valley and the Golden Triangle in Thailand and all the ruins and Cappadocia, up in Hunza Valley. I'd been where people had mystic revelations. And my mystic revelation happened when I returned home. And I was sitting in a brownstone building in DuPont Circle in Washington, D.C., and I'm learning to meditate. And I was sitting across from a man who told me how to close my eyes, welcome everything, and resist nothing. He taught me that I could sit comfortably and find the sanctuary within. Now, if this is your first time meditating with me, you can do the same thing. I needed someone to show me. As a matter of fact, that's the same as it was for me when I was throwing a hand grenade in the military or riding my bicycle on a highway. I saw a man who had his bicycle completely loaded up with all kinds of pans and pots and bags. And I saw him on his rickety bicycle on his bike riding it. And I had loaded my bike up with all my panniers and everything. And I didn't trust myself to ride my bike. So I asked if we could switch. His bike barely had one gear and mine had all fancy 20 gears or something, but we switched bicycles and I saw him able to ride my bike. So about halfway down the highway, we switched bikes and I got back on my bike. But sometimes you just need someone to do it with you or someone to show you how it goes. And that's why sometimes it's nice to meditate with people. So let's talk about the 7 spiritual laws of success. As I said, I was asking that question, what's next? What's next? And I had heard about this book called Perfect Health. Some of you know about it. It's one of our required readings in our Teacher Academy. But after I read the back of that book, which said, if you want to know more, call this number, and I did. And I talked to the director of the Maharishi Ayurveda Health Center in Massachusetts, and I said, I want everything in this book. Can I come work for you? And the answer was yes. So I dropped everything I was doing, my house, my job, my everything, and I went to work for Deepak Chopra. And that was in, I think it was 1991. And years later, of course, he's so prolific. He's written many, many books. And one book he wrote, and I remember specifically, it was called The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. And in the back of that book, he and I crafted a letter, which was called the Global Network for Spiritual Success. It was an invitation to people like you and me and people seeking community to belong to this group. And we would send out study guides. It was all very analog. People would send a request to a PO box and we would send out a study guide. I think I still have some here. And what the whole premise was to practice the 7 spiritual laws, one law every day, immersing yourself in the guidance of these laws of spiritual success and really practicing intentionally the law itself. Now, we're here on a Wednesday. I don't know what day you're listening to this, if you're listening to a recording, but Wednesday's spiritual law is called the law of least effort. The law of least effort. And let me tell you what this is about. This law is based on the principle of allowing. It's about letting go of struggling against what's happening right now, even though we've all have different experiences of what's going on with this pandemic and the lives that of people around us and our jobs. But it's about letting go of struggling against the situation at hand or the circumstances you find yourself in. It's not about rolling over. It's not about pretending it's okay, but it is about accepting what's going on since it's happening anyway. When you have total acceptance of the moment, you can then come up with a creative response on what to do. So if you're struggling against the moment, that mental struggle is going to minimize the creative intelligence that you can be awake to. So in each situation, good or bad, there's a seed of opportunity. For example, if you lose your wallet, it may lead you on a different route than you had planned to travel that day. It may also help you to be more organized in the future, or more present, or more mindful. Even being stuck in traffic can teach you patience. And I know during this particular time when there's so much divisiveness, I'm learning compassion and empathy. I'm learning to put myself in someone else's shoes and to recognize every human is just like me, seeking peace, happiness, fulfillment, connection, and love. At the end of a relationship can even lead you to a more fulfilling relationship. I know when I look back on my life, whether it's a diagnosis of cancer, whether it's an operation, whether it's an accident, whether it's a heartbreak, if I fully am present and accept the moment, I can awaken to the possibilities that are showing. Now, it doesn't mean to, again, spiritual bypass or pretend that it's not happening, but you might as well fully accept the moment since it's happening anyway. And as Deepak Chopra would say, you struggle against this moment, you're struggling against the entire universe, because this moment is orchestrated perfectly, even though we can sometimes forget this. This principle of the law of least effort reminds us to accept our current situation as it is, though you might wish it were different. And this acceptance allows you to be more mindful, allows you to move into allowing less resistance and move into that right side of the brain, which is that creative possibility in every moment. So the mantra, now we know what a mantra means. Mantra simply means instrument for the mind. And this mantra for today is Om, O-M, which means, well, actually Om is like it emphasizes the following. It emphasizes whatever follows it, like Om Shanti can sometimes be the emphasis on peace because Shanti means peace. This is Om Daksham, Daksham Namaha. Om Daksham Namaha. Now, we can use this in our meditation, and I'll guide you into a practice today where we can use this. The essence of it is my actions achieve maximal benefit with minimal effort. So do less and accomplish more, which is a phrase quite often heard in meditation communities. You do less, but you accomplish more because you're performing action while being established in being. I think of it often as when you're pulling back a bow and arrow and you relax You just have to let it go once when you're mindful and you hit your target. So performing action while being established in being. So this, because it's about creativity, this is based in your creativity chakra. And today I know we're using words we don't often use, but chakra means wheel, energy center, where I think of your body plugs in to your awareness or your consciousness. And that's just below your belly button, the pelvic region. You don't have to pay attention to that area while we're doing this practice, but that is for those of you who like chakra work. You can bring your attention there and imagine the breath moving in and out of that area, that creativity center, that nourishment center that makes the best of everything. So Wednesday, the law of least effort, letting go of the struggling against this moment. So let's welcome some people. We've got people in the waiting room. They are not going to know what we were talking about, but here they come. And welcome for those of you just joining us. We're talking today about the law of least effort, and that is Wednesday's law of spiritual success. And what we're going to do is we're going to practice a mindfulness meditation, and then we might do a mantra. The mantra practice, it's a very simple mantra. I will remind you of it as we're getting into it, and I will spell it right now. Let me see if I can do that for you. I'll put it in the chat here. There we go. This means not struggling against the universe and in finding the creative, intelligent response in every moment, the law of least effort. Om Daksham Namaha. So let's begin. Now, as some of you know, we talk about the seven spiritual laws of we talk about the five essentials. We are talking about the seven spiritual laws of success today, but we're talking about the five essentials. And some of you have seen this card before. It's on my website if you want to download it. It talks about the five essentials. And it's okay to have thoughts during meditation. Even though we might be paying attention to our breath or the sounds outside, we can still have distracting thoughts, and that's perfectly fine. It's okay to have thoughts. You have to promise yourself you're going to be kind to yourself throughout this practice. Don't try to have a certain experience other than the one you're having. Let go of expectations. Some of you have been meditating with me for a year and a half. Others are brand new. Whatever the case may be, just let go of any expectations you might have and let it be what it is with a beginner's mind, letting this moment be as it is. You've never been in this moment before. You've never been in this meditation before, though you might have been in some like it. And stick with the entire practice. So we're going to be meditating now for about 20 minutes. I'll be keeping track of the time. And I'm going to invite you to get comfortable. And you can close your eyes or you can gaze downward toward the floor. Get cozy wherever you are. Feel the support wherever you may be. And remember, during this practice, it's okay to move. It's okay to open your eyes at any time. It's okay to look around, scratch an itch. You don't have to sit perfectly rigid or still. Comfort is very important, and allowing your body to be as it is. Mindfulness is really about that. With your eyes closed, you can bring your mindful attention to the body. Mindfulness means being present to what's happening while it's happening, with a non-judgmental attitude, refraining from judging things as good or bad. Simply welcoming whatever sensation is here right now. You might welcome the sounds around you, your breath, the feeling of the chair or the sofa underneath you or your feet on the ground. The law of least effort, welcoming everything, resisting nothing as you remain fully present in this moment. Welcoming the sound you hear. Welcoming the sensations you feel. welcoming any visual activity you might have. You might welcome the tastes in your mouth. Or even any aromas you might be noticing in the space around you. You can invite your breath to deepen now. Breathing in slowly and fully. Breathing out slowly and fully. Bringing your attention inside as you notice the breath and the body's response to breathing. As you let your breath return to its natural rhythm and depth. Notice the chest rising and falling, the movement of the rib cage, your stomach. Accepting this moment right here, right now. Allowing everything in your body to be as it is. You might even begin to sense the circulation of your blood or your heartbeat, or any sense of aliveness you might feel physically. Imagine allowing everything to be exactly as it is, without any interference or evaluation from your side. Imagine there's nothing to change, nothing to improve in this moment. Simply being present with what is right now. There's nothing to get to. There's nothing to compare this moment to. Welcoming everything and resisting nothing, letting go of anticipation. There's nothing you need to give up. Imagine allowing everything to be exactly as it is. Letting go of resistance to anything, any sound, any sensation, any idea. Leave everything as it is. You might silently say the affirmation, I accept everything as it is in this moment. In this state of acceptance, I take responsibility for anything I might perceive as a problem. In this state of acceptance, I relinquish blaming myself or anyone else. To be right here in this moment requires no effort. There is nothing missing. We're going to silently invite a Sanskrit mantra. You do not have to do this. You might just decide to pay attention to the breath, being right here, right now. This mantra is something you say silently at your own pace. Om Daksham Namaha. Om Daksham Namaha. The repetition of the mantra is very, very relaxed. There's no need to force or enunciate or concentrate. Simply, it's an idea. Om Daksham Namaha. Whenever you notice your attention drifting away to another time or place, bring your attention back here, either to your breath or the mantra or both. Om Daksham Namaha. We'll practice this for a few minutes in silence. I'll keep track of the time, letting everything be as it is. And now stop repeating the mantra. And simply sit in open awareness once again, welcoming everything, resisting nothing, and imagining that this moment is perfect as it is. As our meditation comes to a close, I invite you to keep your eyes closed just for another couple of minutes. Resting and being. You might deepen your breath. Once again, welcoming everything, resisting nothing. As you begin to become more aware of the body, more aware of the sounds around you, refraining from judgment. Tuning into that restful state, that restful awareness that you cultivate through this practice. This ground state of being. You might begin to move around a little bit into the space around you, stretch, wiggle your fingers and toes. You can open your eyes when you feel ready. Take your time. Some people like to stay in this in-between state for a while. I like to open my eyes a little and then close them again. You might even tune into the subtleties of being and how they differ from that subtle energy of doing. It's something I've been really tuning into these days. The being is so restful, the doing can start to activate a little more of the sympathetic response. So being able to integrate the being into doing, that's the law of least effort. That is it. So thank you for practicing with me today. Thank you for being with me today and practicing the law of least effort, not struggling against this moment. Awakening to that being, that love that lives through you as you. So I think of that arrow, pulling back the bow, that's the meditation practice. That's what we're doing. And then activity is much more directed, one-pointed, mindful, efficient. So often, if you think about a bow and arrow, you need to pull it back in order to get momentum. That's what we're doing here. Instead of rushing, that becomes a habit for many of us. We slow down, we put on our mindful cap, and we stay really present to this moment. Now, it doesn't mean we don't want things to be different. It simply means this moment is as it is. This is it. And then you can make plans for how you might do something differently on purpose. But struggling against this moment is a big waste of energy since it is as it is already. So I want to see how you're doing. Yes, pulling back the, and if you're a golfer, swinging your golf club before you hit the ball, right? That's what we do. That's what this whole practice is that building momentum to take action efficiently. I know I mentioned losing your wallet as a way of waking up to possibilities. And I often say there are two ways to do everything. And I think I've told this story before, but my husband and I used to travel to Mexico to the beach when we lived in Arizona. And he one time left his wallet on the bed in the bedroom and didn't put it in the safe like he usually does. And we're walking down the beach. And this is when I really got, there are two ways of doing everything. I was walking, enjoying the sand, the sounds, the sun. I was picking up trash, as I often do as I walk on the beach. But that's what I was doing. And he was walking, but he wasn't there. His mind was back in the room thinking about his wallet. So, there are two ways to do everything: being right here, right now, or physically being right here, right now, and mentally being checked out or in another time zone. So today, let's practice being really present, doing less and accomplishing more, and accepting this moment as it is, even though we do sometimes want it to be different. So I hope you enjoyed that practice. I'm going to go ahead and let you unmute if you'd like to say hello or share how you're doing in this moment. I know some of you joined us a little late. We were talking about the 7 spiritual laws of success, and today's spiritual law is the law of least effort. That's Wednesday. And the mantra we used was Om Daksham Namaha. And these mantras can be said during the day. These are not mantras that are only for meditation. There are some that are really specific to meditation, but if you want to use this as you're walking, if it comes natural to you, Om Daksham Namaha, Daksham Namaha. Does anyone want to share how that practice went for you?
I will share.
I think.
Because this is actually my first time joining you this way and everybody else. And I want to say how wonderful it is to be with all of you, and especially in the morning, because that's a totally different time for me. I meditate, but usually in the afternoon or today in the evening. But it's kind of a nice way to start my day.
And I'm so glad you're here, Mickey.
Yeah, so thank you so very much. And thank you, everybody.
Where are you right now? Where are you sitting?
I'm sitting in my sort of office studio. It's like my place.
Yeah.
With 2 dogs meditating on the floor.
I love it. What town are you in, or state or country?
Tucson, Arizona.
Perfect. Thank you. Got a lot of Arizona folks here. So thank you, Mickey.
Somebody's here from Flagstaff, I saw.
So anyone else care to share? How'd that meditation go for you?
Sarah, I will. And I just want to thank you. This was the first time I'm here in this group, and I did come a little late, but I just love, and I've listened to many, many meditations, but I love your way, your words, your acceptance, just absolutely beautiful. And I hope that I can be even a pinch of that in my teachings as well, because it's just spectacular.
Thank you, Melissa. And Melissa just joined our teacher training program. She's sitting in New York City, and you can do this. I will teach you how. That is my goal. So
Mhm.
that's our last teacher training program for a while. And really specifically, when I was talking about that being versus doing, there's an element as we practice meditation that you start to feel the contrast between being in the parasympathetic response, that restful awareness, and then the sympathetic response, even as slightly as it is, that sympathetic response, we all need it. It's what gets us off the sofa in the morning and gets us out the door, gets us out of bed. So we all need it. But there's a level of it that with meditation, you create this resilience, this tone in your nervous system so that you're not always having the gas pedal to the floor. There's a coasting element that is really good for the nervous system. And so I'm glad we get to do this together. Thanks, Melissa, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to stop recording now, if I can do that, and still invite you to share. Anyone want to share? Feel free to do that.